Good evening, ghoulies and ghosties and long-leggedy beasties. This is Alex coming at you from the underworld, and welcome back to another episode of I remember when I was in first grade, my family said that we are going on vacation to Florida, and I remember being excited because I'd never seen a beach before a day in my life. Well, that kind of changed because a few days later, before we had the opportunity to go, my dad had the bright idea to ask, "Have you ever seen Jaws, son?" Well, I was just a kid. No, I had not seen Jaws at that time, but with him being the loving father that he was and still is with his shenanigans, he decided to sit down with me and pop in the VHS of Jaws. Needless to say, when we got to the beach, I did not want to get in the water whatsoever. But I did enjoy the movie, and I took it like a trooper. And I discovered during this time, not only did I have a fascination with sharks, I also had a very strange fear about them. And as you can guess, this fear was as far-fetched as it could possibly get. One of the fears that I had was that the swimming pools that I was in also had a great white shark in it while I was swimming. Another one was that the land shark, and in my mind, the land shark was the shark that hid in my closet or under the bed and was going to pop out at any time to get me. But despite all that, I loved sharks. So I watched movies and documentaries and read books on the subject as much as I could. But not until recently did I have the opportunity to read the amazing book by Steve Alten known as Meg. For those of you who haven't read Meg and you skipped out on the 2018 movie, here's what you can expect. Jurassic Shark, enough said, review's over, time to move on. No, just kidding. Pretty much, Meg introduces the protagonist named Jonas Taylor. He is a marine biologist who at one time worked for the Navy. 7 years ago, he led an expedition into the Mariana Trench where he encountered a megalodon. After seeing it and hauling butt, he accidentally killed 2 of his crew because he was coming up to the surface way too fast. After that, he ended up going into a mental institution. He was removed from the Navy, and currently he's just trying to make ends meet off of book sales and also the lectures that he's been doing. Well, at the end of this one particular lecture, he is approached by the character Terry Tanaka. And she comes to him asking for help because her father is in need of assistance. Her dad's name is Maso, I think, something like that. You can't expect too much from me. I'm from Mississippi, so this is as good as it gets. Anyway, her dad needs help because the Tanakas have been sending down units into the trench. And what they're hoping to do is get data from these units so they can learn a little bit more about tremors and also what's going on in that area. But every time they send a unit down there, something inside of the trench destroys it completely. And so they're hoping Jonas can lead them into the trench so they can retrieve their equipment and try to find out what's causing this destruction. Initially, Jonas wants to help because he's been friends with the Tanakas for forever and a day. But more so, he's hoping that this is his opportunity to go back into the trench and prove that the megalodon exists and he's not crazy. So with nothing left to lose, he does exactly that. A few days later, when he finally gets down into the trench, he and Terry Tanaka's brother, DJ, he and DJ go down to the base of the trench that's known as Challenger Deep. And while they're down there, they don't only encounter 1 megalodon, but 2. And these sharks have been trapped in the trench under this freezing stream of water that has prevented them from being able to rise above. Well, even though Jonas now has proof that the Megalodon exists, unfortunately, a lot of other people are about to get a one-on-one introduction to the prehistoric beast. I have read that Steve Alten said he became inspired to write about sharks in the 70s after he read Peter Benchley's groundbreaking novel Jaws. But Meg wouldn't surface until the 90s after he read about the Mariana Trench, which provided him an equal inspiration to the Benchley classic. For those unfamiliar with the Mariana Trench, it is located in the western Pacific Ocean, and it is the deepest natural trench in the world. Upon release, Meg was an instant success where it became translated and distributed to over 20 countries. Not to mention, it reigned on bestseller lists, including the New York Times, and it granted Alten a 2-book deal. Fun fact. I also read that Steve Alten has a collection of fossilized megalodon teeth. These range in age from 100,000 to 10,000 years old, which means the megalodon survived the Ice Age. In this respect, if we go by Jonas's philosophy, which is actually also Steve Alten's philosophy, just because we haven't seen a megalodon doesn't mean they don't exist. Alten also says that we know very little about the depths of the ocean and what mysteries those depths hide. And actually, we know more about outer space than we do the greatest depths of the oceans. Following this, Alten had noted in the section of the Meg, which was the re-release of Meg, he explained in his notes that after Meg was released, some scientists had been around the Mariana Trench and they discovered 6,000 feet down a new species of shark that was 24 feet long. That's no different than the size of this RV. So now that we've talked about the basics, this is time for me to rant about some of the spoilers. Pretty much, if you haven't read Meg and you don't want anything in the book to be spoiled for you, just reference the description section to this video and you'll see where I've placed a timestamp. If you were to click on that timestamp, it will redirect you to the thoughts chapter of this video. You only have 17 seconds to do this. So ready, set, go. So now that everyone has had a chance to click away, I am going to discuss some of my favorite scenes. For starters, the prologue to Meg is some of the best I've read in a long, long time, and it merges together dark comedy while pulling at the heartstrings. What I mean by this is, at the beginning, when you have the prehistoric sequence, Alten really knows how to tap into my nostalgic love, especially love that's similar for like Jurassic Park or The Land Before Time or something in that sense. But what happens is, at the beginning, you have a family of hadrosaurs, and they are running from a T-Rex. So they go into the ocean to get the hell away from him. Well, while they're in the water, they encounter a 60-foot megalodon. They're like, oh, hell no, not today, Satan. So they turn around and haul butt back onto land. While this is happening, the T-Rex has entered the water and has become shark food, and the hadrosaurs have run away to see another day. A second favorite scene is after DJ dies, and this is where the megalodon that has destroyed his submarine has become tangled into its mechanics. And this is a major, epic, oh crap moment. So, what happens is, the people who are on the Kiku ship, they're trying to reel in DJ's submarine, but they don't know that a megalodon is attached. So they're reeling it in and all that good stuff, and the megalodon is getting closer to that freezing stream of water that they cannot cross because it just won't work with their body temperature. So the female Megalodon has had it up to here being down in the trench. And also she's pregnant. So she's ready to give birth to her babies, and she is determined it ain't going to be down there. So she does the unthinkable, which is go over to her mate, attacks it, and gets blood everywhere. So you have this nice, beautiful stream of hot blood just going all in the shower, and she swims up through it, through the freezing water, and gets to freedom. That's badass. That's determination right there. And I wish they would have used it for the movie, but they decided to go PG-13 with it. Anyway, so a final favorite scene of mine is where Jonas drives his submarine into the Megalodon's mouth and ends up in its stomach. And what happens is, this is a very poetic scene because he uses a Megalodon tooth that he has had in his pocket for the last few chapters to pages to kill it. And if that's not good enough for you, the cherry on the cake is how Alten describes the human remains that Jonas encounters in the belly of the beast. So awesome. But those are some of my favorite scenes, and now that we've discussed those, it's time to move on to the antagonist, of which there are many in this book, and no, I do not consider the Megalodons to be among the antagonists. Out of all of the antagonists in this book, two characters take the cake. Let's start with Maggie. Now, with Maggie, compared to the movie, where she was actually likable there, in the book, Jonas's wife, Maggie, is a, what's the word? She's a two-timing, social climbing, superficial hussy who got exactly what she deserved. And the reasons why is, one, she decided to have this great resentment against Jonas after their gravy train stopped. Two, she cheated on him, and she cheated a lot. Three, this one. Numerous times, she attempted for Jonas to have a nervous breakdown in public where she would appear like the victim. In turn, she would divorce him, appearing as a survivor, and then this would further her career in media. So that's the kind of person Maggie was. Now, a person who was just as skeezy as Maggie was Captain Danielson. One, he is the individual who sent Jonas down into the trench 7 years ago, and he is the one who is responsible for it being a failed expedition. Secondly, he is also the one who decided to tell the whole world that Jonas was delusional and he imagined the Megalodon down in the trench. Three, because of him, Jonas lost his career in the military. So, if you were to look in the dictionary under the term turd splat, you would find a photo of this bastard looking like the grinning jackass that he is. Now, my only one complaint about his death is it did not last long enough. Considering the movie adaptation of Meg was stuck in production since 1997, I'm not surprised by how the book was butchered by the movie. On screen, the content was nothing but a high-action PG-13 flick while pushing sex appeal. With this approach, the movie deprived the viewer of emotion, awesome kills, and a deeper social commentary. In the book, none of the characters are gray. What I mean by that is none of them are complex. They are characters that you either love or you want to see become shark food. There's no in between. With Jonas, there's a lot more character development that is invested in him than it is in the movie. And even though the book and movie both portray him as a hero and as an underdog, the book does a much better job of portraying this. Now, with Jonas, his character in the book is able to strike empathy and sympathy with the reader. And as a reader, I became very invested with him. Now, with Jonas, his greatest character ability is being able to remain loyal to those around him, even those who have screwed him over. But more importantly, he remains loyal to himself. Overall, Jonas is a great guy with a good heart who has been dealt a crappy hand. Now, with his wife Maggie, she was so despicable with her choices and her philosophies and what she did to get ahead in life that I began to question if Alten was misogynistic against empowered women. But as I continued reading, I saw that wasn't the case whatsoever, as he used a similar formula for her lover and also for Captain for the captain who was responsible for Jonas going into the trench 7 years prior. I've said his name about 1,000,000 times in the spoiler, but Danielson, Captain Danielson, there we go. I knew I'd think about it in time. But anyway, he uses a similar formula with Maggie's lover and Captain Danielson. But moving away from them, one character that opposes Maggie is Terry Tanaka. And Terry is also an empowered woman, but she is empowered by working hard, doing what needs to be done, and being honest. And so she is the empowered woman who is the complete opposite of what Maggie has done in life, which is walk all over people. Now, one of Terry's greatest character abilities is her family values. Another is, even though Jonas is a major underdog, she continues to care for him, and we get a sense that she really believes him despite everything that's gone down. But with Terry, a very, 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 very missed opportunity here that I wished would have happened, but the more I think about it, I'm kind of glad it didn't. But Terry had so many opportunities to hand Maggie her elitist ass. But as I said, she never did. I feel that had Terry done this, had Terry handed Maggie her ass or opened up a can of whoop ass, it really would have diminished Terry's character. While I'm on the subject of Terry, I really want to touch on her father, Maaso. I think I finally pronounced his name right. Maaso. I think I got it right between takes. But Maaso is one of the greatest characters in this book. He is so loving, he is open, he is non-judgmental, and he breaks his back for others. Not only other human beings, but also animals and marine life. With Maaso, he has had to act as a mother and a father for his children ever since he became a widower. And aside from doing that, he's invested a great deal of his life in building a natural habitat for whales to migrate to without them being in an enclosed area, which is, of course, his Tanaka Institute, which is supposed to allow them the freedom to come and go and just have a place. But his greatest character ability is he always sees a light at the end of the tunnel. And even more important, he always is able to look tragedy straight in the face and find a reason or a way to rise above. And in my opinion, we need more people like him in the world. We really do, which I'll explain a little bit more about him later on, especially when I get into speaking about the social commentary. But as far as characters go, Jonas and Maaso are two of the most awesome ones in this book. But with character development aside, I've already covered awesome kills, which that's in my spoiler section. And all I can say is the movie did not do the kill scenes justice whatsoever. So if you've seen the movie and you were underwhelmed with the kill scenes in there, rightfully so. Read the book. Get the kill scenes that were intended. And now it's time to move on to social commentary. In the social commentary, there are 4 subjects that I was able to pick out. One is scapegoatism. A second one is going to be on workplace harassment. The third one is taking responsibility for your own actions. And the fourth one is on animal rights. I really cannot elaborate on the scapegoatism or the workplace harassment at this point in the video. It's been discussed a little bit in the spoiler section, and I don't want to give any spoilers away here. But I can shine light on taking responsibility for your own actions and also the animal rights. As far as responsibility is concerned, aside from what Jonas has suffered from with the scapegoatism, we find this subject being more relevant when it comes down to the Megalodon. And what I mean by that is, after the Megalodon has killed a lot of people, you have loved ones of those persons wanting the Megalodon dead. Even Terry wants the Megalodon dead. And this is a natural reaction, I believe. If you have a loved one or you hear of someone dying because of some specific animal, a lot of people tend to think, kill it, get rid of it, save the human race. Well, Jonas and Jonas and Terry's dad are the voice of reason here. And they explain it is a shark. The shark did what sharks do. Everyone who got into the water knew what could happen once they entered the water. So this really lays the responsibility on human beings, because we have the power to choose. We have the power to decide yes or no under circumstances like this. And animals, they don't have that option. So throughout the book, there had really been a lot of animal rights that came into play by hints, but this was very blatant. And another subject that was very blatant, and this is when Maaso, that's still not right. It sounds like I'm saying my asshole. M-A-S-A-O. No. Ma-sa-o. 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 So, about the animal rights. Masao is ideal when it comes to animal rights. Not only does he have the philosophy, but he also has the actions that back his philosophies. And he also has the get up and go to do what needs to be done. A great example of this is the Tanaka Institute. Its main purpose is for whales to be able to migrate there without the worry of being captured, imprisoned, and also being forced into exploitation where they have to perform tricks and such. His institute is anything but that. But also at the same time, the institute does allow persons to be able to come and visit and see the whale migration. And this is so people can still enjoy wildlife and marine life without there being the incarceration of it. So, absolutely love Masao. And I finally got his name right, I think. Overall, I absolutely love this book. It was fast-paced, it had horror, action, the writing style was easy, and it sucks the reader in very quickly. I don't have TV, so I read this during Shark Week, and I am very happy that I did. It was a perfect substitute. This is available in print, e-reader, and also Audible, so grab your copy. It's worth it. I hope everyone enjoyed my first video. It might have been just a little buzzy every now and then with the microphone, but I'm working on getting some other equipment. Hopefully the next video won't be like that. So it's a trial and error, learn as I go. But I do hope to see everyone's comments. I would like to know if people enjoyed the book, how they felt about the movie in comparison to the book. I would also like some recommendations of other books that are deep sea horror. So feel free to load up my comment section. And let's have a little bit of fun while we're at it. Were you ever afraid of the land shark or the imaginary swimming pool shark? Please tell me I wasn't the only one. Please. It would suck if I was. But anyway, be sure to subscribe, click that notifications bell, and until next time, sweet nightmares.